New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Welcome to Girls Behaving Metaphysically. Your hosts are two girls who believe that life is awesome, that laughter heals, and that it's possible to find deep spiritual insights in everyday experience.
Here come the girls. It's more than practical. Here come the girls. Way more than merely factual. If you want to know the secrets of a life, it's free. Listen to Girls Behaving Metaphysically. Listen to Girls Behaving Metaphysically.
Hello, hello, hello. Here we are, two girls behaving metaphysically. Exactly. Okay, I am Robyn Rice Olmsted.
I am Dr. Natasha Wilson, all the way over in, where am I? Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. And it is our producer's birthday here in Australia because we're a day ahead of you guys.
We're a day ahead. So you get to celebrate twice, but you all are in time. Don't fret, don't worry. You can join him tomorrow night as he celebrates on air. Oh, you can't join him tomorrow night live. But
no, because we are going on hiatus for a month.
Starting tomorrow?
Starting tomorrow, right?
Is it because your voice sounds like that?
No, it's because just other things. So we have decided we went to the grand meeting. And it was decided. But like Arnold says, I will be back.
So I'm going to celebrate you today, since it's your birthday here in Australia. And as a part of that celebration, express so much gratitude for what you do for our show and what you do in this world. Like, it's more of what the world needs. Thank you so much, Michael. And many, many more.
I'm rubbing it in. Thank you.
Rub it in. Take it all in. You deserve it.
Yep. I ditto that.
So, thank you. All right.
Back on. Here we are, back on. And it is the first week of April. Good Lord. The quarter of the year is gone. Or almost.
You got it. No, I got my quarterly tax statement. It's over. I know.
Right? Those gentle reminders of adulthood. Man, remember when you could you marked it all by season? Like, yay, Easter's coming, spring break, and, Christmas and holidays and days off. Now it's by bills.
Quarterly tax statement. Yes, I was like, okay, universe. I said, money coming to me.
There you go.
How are you, Robyn?
I am good. I'm good. I don't know what's the option, right? I just choose to be good. Choose to be good.
You said the term that matters. You're like, what do I choose? And you're choosing to be in the flow of what is beautiful, what is good. It's a choice. It is always a choice. Doesn't mean we don't see everything else that's happening, right? We don't have to resist what our eyes see. That's why, last week when we talked about or the week before, I don't remember what week it was, but I was talking about how important my internal world has become, right? As I'm moving into the fall season, notice the colors, the fall season here in Australia, I'm feeling very internal. And so that world chooses to remember that I'm not that my ego is not in control, but that something bigger is happening and I name it good. And so that is what I hear you saying. And we need more of that. And it's why I'm grateful that you are a part of my spiritual community.
Yay. Me too. So yeah, I mean, I think it really, but playing into that, it really has been, that kind of a week. It's like, what am I choosing? What, because I've had ups and downs and deaths and births and, all kinds of things. And it's like, okay, it just is what it is. And how can I be in it and not of it, and really take the good stuff, because
there's a lot of good that's happening. I just have to say that I know what the apparent surface looks like. And maybe because today is both Michael's birthday and it's also Good Friday. So Michael, your birthday is on Good Friday. So for me, the day is good. Life is good. Life wants us. It wants what we want. And so it is.
So it is. All right. Well, there's nothing else to do then but go to the card pull to see where it's guiding us, because today we're going to be talking about, I think, a lot about what we said, the change and all of that. Our theme today is holy shift. What's calling us? And talking about what's going on. So who's pulling a card? I got decks here if you want.
Yeah, because I only have the Sufi Tarot. So, because I've noticed, like, for me, I just like to work with one deck for a long time. And that's
I will tell you, I'm shuffling. Yeah. You can tell me to stop anytime. But I will tell you, on my way here, I was, I had to walk by a metaphysical store to get to my car. And there's not a lot that I've seen here in New Mexico. And I went in and they had a whole wall of cards. And I was already going to be late. So I was like, I can't do this. I got to come back. But there were like oracle cards and this card and that card. I mean, I'm talking a whole wall with like probably 6 shelves down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me when to stop.
All right. Go ahead and stop.
All right. Yikes. I pulled. Oh, God. Why? Surrendering to the journey. Don't we do that all the freaking time?
No, we don't. No, okay, no, I don't. Right? No.
Okay. Release control, it says.
Yeah,
that's not controlling. All right. Surrendering to the journey. What did you say?
But I wish I could say that. That is not the truth for me. Sometimes I am like swimming all the way upstream until I'm completely worn out. And then then I hear that voice that's like, Natasha, everything you want is downstream. Trust. You only control your choices.
I don't think these glasses really work. I think they're my fake glasses. Let's see.
Oh, you have fake glasses.
Yeah, I have fake glasses because when I didn't need glasses, I thought like it was really cool to have glasses. So these are my fake glasses. But I don't know where the real ones are.
I wish I needed fake glasses. Oh, I have always needed real glasses since I was like 4 years old.
Really?
Yeah, and I've never been like a candidate for like the LASIKs because my astigmatism is just that intense. And what I've come to notice, or what I've come to accept about that spiritually, is that I was born into the world knowing that what I see on the apparent level is not always what's happening on the divine level. That's how I interpret that astigmatism.
That's good. Gil had LASIKs. He loved it.
I don't qualify for it, so.
I'm going to tell you, it was very freaky because I'm there and I'm out waiting for him, and this guy comes and he's like, "Do you want to watch?" I'm like, I don't know. And so he takes me to this window where like you can see them doing the surgery, and then he proceeds to narrate what's happening. So he's like, "Okay, they're cutting his eyeball right now. They're slicing it." I'm like, "Oh no, I don't want to watch anymore. Thank you so much, though." I'm like, "Oh, okay, TMI, thanks." But yeah, I mean, it's literally lasted for like 20 years. He would like to do it again. I don't know if he's a candidate or not.
No.
So, all right, surrendering to the journey. Okay, this is going to be interesting, but here we go.
Okay.
Oh, wait, I found more glasses. Maybe these are real. Okay, here we go. I know, but it's okay. It's all good in our world. That's part of being metaphysical girl. Okay, surrendering to the journey. Card meaning it's time to let go. All is well. The creative is at your side. You don't have to do it alone. Your life is guided. This is not the time to try to control the details of your life. Let it flow. There are times to hold on, but this is the time to completely surrender. Surrender to the greater forces of the universe. Let go of wanting to control your future. Simply turn your challenges over to your spiritual source. The creator will escort you on your journey. Amen.
Ashe, amen, aho, hotep, as we say in feminist spirituality circles.
I will tell you that it was stuck to the begin now card. Begin now, take your first step. So I do feel like they kind of go hand in hand.
I agree.
And I think, so if I look at it, I mean, I feel like that's always the lesson somehow, like, okay, surrender, just let it go, let it be, surrender, trust the flow. And so my question to myself becomes, where am I not doing that? And it probably, if I was being fully honest, I'm not going to be fully honest, but I'll be partially honest. It probably comes up pretty much everywhere. Because even though I think I'm more surrendered to the outcome as opposed to being surrendered to it getting completed without me. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, I do like to have some control.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I'd be willing to let it go if other people could just do it. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. But it feels like that sometimes, I mean, sometimes it feels like, if not you, then who? Like when I look at other people's whatever, attitude, skill set, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is that keeps me from going, oh yeah, go ahead and take that over. Take that on. So it is yet another lesson in letting go.
Yeah.
How about for you?
Yeah, like I said at the beginning of the carpool, I completely no, I try to control things all the time. But it doesn't always look like control on the surface. But on a deeper psychological level, it is. And I know where it comes from. Like it comes from, I think any child or any human that had a life that might have been marked by things that look like trauma or were trauma, we learn early on, to try to control our environments so that we can be safe. And so I don't look at it as something that's pathological, but I do understand from both the spiritual perspective and just mental health perspective that it can become maladaptive, and life continues to show us that, there's a saying in Islam that I just love. And because I'm still studying the Sufi stuff right now, I think I told you I'm working with the 99 beautiful names of Allah. But there's a saying that we plan, meaning humans, and Allah plans, and surely Allah is the best planner. And so I've taken that to mean, yeah, go ahead, do your plan, do all the things you feel that you need to do for a thing that you want. And then step back and just take each step as it comes, as life shows you what the next step is. And, it's a practice. It is an ongoing spiritual practice because
Absolutely.
We're not socialized to be that way. And then when you layer upon that stuff like trauma, and then you layer upon that a sort of broader conventional culture that is addicted to doing more. Like I was watching something on the news not so long ago, and it was like these people from the current political regime, someone in like that cabinet was like, this man never sleeps. I was like, if anybody needs to sleep, that man needs to sleep. I'm just like, right. So this like notion that like being busy and just constantly doing, like that's like glorified. So, which is another form of like control. So, no, it's a lesson I come back to all the time. And the most surrendered that I feel is when I do finally go to sleep sometimes. And when I first wake up in the morning. So yeah, I don't always let it go. I usually let it go because I'm tired, because I've been like, it's like planting the seed and then like digging it up to see if it's growing. I got to surrender to the process of life. So it's a practice. It is a practice and a choice.
Yeah, and a good reminder really to go back to those spaces and places of that release and that calm and that knowingness, where we really like that first morning breath, or, when you're just waking up, or when you're just going to sleep, when you're just letting go, and bringing that into your awareness in your body.
For sure.
So that's great.
Yeah.
So that's what we got. Let us know if there's something that came up for you in the chat. And when we come back, we are going to be kicking off this season of becoming. That's our theme for the month of April. And we're just going to talk about the times then when life lets you know, whether it's with a little whisper, like Natasha said, or with the 2x4, which is generally what my spirit is packing. We're going to let you know, we're going to talk about what it's calling you towards and what it means, and just diving into those places of intuition and invitations and sacred disruptions. So you don't want to miss that. So come back right here to New Thought Media Network after these words from our sponsors. We'll see you back here.
Please help us say thank you to all of our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Center for Spiritual Living United Life, Sunshine Cathedral, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Universal Joy Center, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Home Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. On behalf of New Thought Media Network, thank you, and please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, come be you. Come expand your spiritual journey. Join us for Just the Talk, Sundays, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Experience Unity Kitchener and Ottawa. Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Unity of Garden Park, New Thought Philadelphia, the Sunshine Cathedral, Unity of Savannah, and the Om Center for Spiritual Living. Come unleash your spiritual potential with New Thought Media Network.
Welcome to Girls Behaving Metaphysically. Your hosts are two girls who believe that life is awesome, that laughter heals, and that it's possible to find deep spiritual insights in everyday experience.
Here come the girls. It's more than practical. Here come the girls. Way more than merely factual. If you want to know the secrets of a life that's free, listen to Girls Behaving Metaphysically. Listen to Girls Behaving Metaphysically.
And we are back. I am in Albuquerque, New Mexico, holding down the fort here, and Dr. Natasha joins us from Brisbane, Australia.
Yes, in Queensland, sunny Queensland, but it's starting to get fall, which means the weather is getting cooler, and I can wear so in the northern hemisphere, I'm a fall baby, right? I was born in the fall. In Australia, I'm a spring baby, but in my heart, I'm a fall baby. So there it is.
I got it. I can't really imagine switching seasons, but I mean, that's just, it's just different.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, it's what's in a season anyway. Okay, whole nother show. So today we are talking about what is really calling you forward. What are those signs and those things that come up during this season, and it's happening. Even though we would explain it differently in terms of equinox and solstices and stars and all of those things, I mean, it's really still that invitation to play in a different way. And it's really, I mean, it's still about, there's a change happening, right? Are you contemplating my words?
Yes, I am. I'm sitting with it because it's absolutely true. Like, it's just absolutely true. I love like the question of like, what is calling me? What am I becoming? And I feel like it doesn't really matter, like northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere. Like if we even play with this time, right? This is the for Christians, it's the Easter season. And I think it's really like what is what are we feeling called towards? Or for me, right, what I'm experiencing is what I am remembering that I am called towards. Um, and I'm having like this sort of having this very interesting experience in a really practical, sort of not like mystical way, but given that, my daughters are one soon to be 11 very soon. The other will be 9 at the end of the year. The reality is, like, for the next 10 years of my life, um, my work needs to look different so that I can be with them through to adulthood and be more present. And so I've been thinking about what does that mean for me for work? Because what I have been doing is sort of like pushing to just be able to keep doing this work that I love. I love what I get to do for work. I swear it's like I love it. And I just need to keep it a little bit. I just need a little bit of that juice of being a therapist. It just opens my heart just bursts. I love it. And I had these ideas of what that path would look like and what it would lead to. And never in that was one, living in Australia, and two, raising children, let alone two children in Australia, let alone becoming a citizen of Australia. None of that was in the cards, right? That's where I release and just go with the flow of life. And what's come with that is like, you know what? Since I can't work the way that I want for the next 10 years, and the Australian government, from my perspective, is just very generous in terms of supporting us as citizens. I know a lot of Australians feel differently, but when you come from a place like the US, to have health care that you don't have to pay $1 million for, it's a miracle. Okay. So anyways, I'm saying all that to say is I have 10 years. So I'm like, what is it that I can pursue, that I can do, that is something that's been a part of my calling forever? And those are like two things. It's like my spiritual study in an intentional way, or medical school. And so I've been putting those two things together and really like talking to like career people, career advisor type people. And what emerged from those conversations is that I really do have this call towards palliative care. And because to me, like, dying is such a beautiful part of the rites. It's a rite of passage for the human soul. And I just feel really called to that. And I have a super analytical mind. And so I took my, there's a practice exam that you have to take before you sit for, like, it's like the GMAT, but it's for med school. I took it and I like aced it, Robyn. And I was like, and not only I aced it, I had fun doing it. Right. And so it's like, I'm really sitting at this, like, okay, there's not like a med school and a divinity school together that I could go to. So it's like, I'm just at this point, like, what am I becoming? What is life calling of me? And the fact is, if I chose the med path, which would take me into probably psychiatry and palliative care, which is what I'm, where my passions are, or I went down the road of like divinity, ministry, that sort of thing, maybe chaplaincy. I don't know. I just want to do them both. But one takes like 10 years, which is like perfect, because that's my kids will be adult and I'll be stepping into the next phase of my life. And the other doesn't take as long. But I don't get to like work with that part of my mind that just loves science. So anyways, maybe I do. I don't know. So what am I becoming? That's what I'm sitting with.
Well, and I think, but not only that, I think that what you're sitting, not only that, you're sitting in a stage of, I mean, in literally a 10-year stage of what am I becoming?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, with your kids, because they're in the stage of becoming, and so you get to witness freshly becoming every day, because whether it's
Absolutely.
becoming a teenager, becoming a preteen, becoming, I mean, it's that constant revolution of becoming. So I think, I mean, it is, it feels like a never ending question,
Mm.
of becoming, because we're fortunate enough to know, I mean, just you even talking about those two options, that we can constantly reinvent and rediscover who we are and what's calling us.
Yes.
And I think
Yes.
that's part of what we mentioned, like, you've gotten the nudge, you've gotten the whisper about, okay, you got two things, med school or, religious studies, and you're asking the questions, okay, so how do I combine them, or which one do I want to do more, or what'll feel better when I'm 10 years older, or all of those things, and I think that that's what the stage of becoming is. And I don't know, I'm just hesitant to say that when we say stage, it sounds like it ends. And I don't think it ends. I mean, I think that's the beauty of what we know now. Like, we don't have to have that job for 30 years and get a gold watch and do it a certain way.
Mm. Yeah, that
We-
actually, like that even the thought of that caused me so much anxiety. I never ever think I ever wanted that. You know what I mean? This notion of like just doing one thing for, remember, I'm the kid that my parents got the call, your daughter's in the French Quarter chanting with the Hare Krishnas, right? I'm also that kid that wandered into the Nation of Islam mosque and like converted to Islam, right? Like the thought of like anything, right? For that, like life is so precious. And I feel like we have so many areas that life wants to, like, just the way life wants to express through us. I think one of the things that gets in the way is this conventional culture that has that notion, like, you do this thing for 30 years and then you get a watch. Like, I just, that just feels so constrictive to me. And when I think about the surrendering to the journey, it doesn't look like that. 30 things for 1 year and then 30 years or whatever, and you in a watch. I think I would like crush the rock at like
yeah,
in some.
okay, but you look at it from a different perspective. Think about those people, those teachers that have been there for 30 years and have influenced lives and are so into and high on what they've done and the lives that they've changed, and
That
that
is,
they've been doing it for that long. It's like, it's not that it's a bad thing,
no, it is beautiful for those
yeah,
for whom that works. That is beautiful.
yeah, and it's not that it can't be a both and. I mean, it's not.
It is
So
both
it's like,
and.
so that leads me to the question, really, like, so, like, how do we know? Two questions. How do we know when life is really trying to get our attention? Like, and what's the difference between, like, I don't know how you figure it out. Like, is it intuition, or is it a discomfort in your body that you're not doing the right thing or living into the right thing? How do we figure that out?
Yeah. I okay. Okay. So I just wanted to go back to the surrender, right? Surrender to becoming, right? Surrender. I think about Michelle Obama's book, Becoming. And there's this beautiful song that I used at my last retreat that was the theme song for the whole retreat. And it's based on poetry inspired by that book, right? Becoming. Because, like you said, it doesn't stop. We are always becoming. That, I think the thing that sometimes requires surrender, and I'm watching this in myself, right? In a couple months, I'm going to be 50 years old, right? I am the that I was born right on that cusp of very end of Gen X, very beginning of millennial, right? I carry that energy that kind of like has both things. Like I feel like I'm like, sometimes I hear millennials call it like hyphenated. I'm hyphenated, right? Like I'm multiple things. And I think for me, sitting at the doorway of 50 years, 50, a half of a century of being a Homo sapien on planet Earth, that I needed to let go, surrender that there is this notion that it's too late to follow the call. I really do notice that that is crap, right? So how I know of like what's called, because it always has the same theme. It always pulls at the same area of my heart and my gut. And there is a through line in all of it, even from being an anthropology professor to being a clinical social worker, right? All there's a through line of wanting to understand and be a part of understanding the human condition for the purpose of being a beneficial presence on this planet and doing whatever my small part is to be a part of creating a world that works for everyone while also exploring like my interest and my happiness. Like I think I told you, right? Like this is what gives me joy in the evenings. Like doing that without like in I think that's the thing with age, Robyn. Maybe you can share this too, because you may have experienced this too. As we grow older, it's like we just lean into what calls us. Like if I'm called to do algebra, I'm gonna do it. I don't care. I don't care what people think about it, right? You know, if they call me and I happen to answer the phone at 7 o'clock because I'm in bed doing algebra and I'm so into solving for X and feeling the gratitude and it feels so satisfying. It gives my ego something to solve instead of like some human drama. But anyways, I think the surrender, this notion that it's too late to follow one's call and where we feel there's a through line, and whatever our calling is, how it expresses might look different over the life cycle, but there will always be a through line. That's
Yeah,
what
yeah, I think that's true. I think, but I think there's a common thought or belief or misbelief or whatever that, when you get that download of what your calling is, that it'll feel comfortable or that it'll be, you know, uh, convenient.
I mm,
I mean, because I think it's important. I mean, to note that it's not always that, because it's going to grow you on some level generally.
absolutely. That's
You
why
know?
we're here, right?
That's why we're here. But I mean, I think, just to take it down to the baby step, I think sometimes, like when people are trying to decide between what's my intuition, what's really right to do, how do I know? What if I'm making this up? What if it's not, spirit saying, or what if it's not my intuition? I think that it's important for people to lean into the fact that it may not be like, woohoo, yes, there's the party, you know, or that's where I want to be. Because generally, I'll speak for myself, generally usually my callings generally invite me to face some fear, you know,
Absolutely. Yeah.
something that I haven't been comfortable doing, I've thought I couldn't do, I think are too big for me, whatever it is. So I just want to disband that myth
Yeah.
that the
Yeah.
nudges are going to be gentle and like, angels on high going, here's your calling, you know.
Absolutely. And I want to share something that is like super, super personal, because for me, it's important to engage my life more and more from a place of like authenticity. And it's just hard for me not to, because as you know, I told you that I'm on the spectrum. So I have a tendency to be super honest. I can be like hyper focused, and that has served me in many ways across the lifespan. Even though I don't, it would have been really nice to be diagnosed when I was a child. It would have just made everything make a lot more sense about all my little weird quirks, right? That my family still tells stories about. Anyways, but that caused me a lot of anxiety as a kid. So one of the things that I have re-engaged at this stage in my life, because no matter where I feel life pulling me, I've decided I want to like, because I became a parent later in life, right? So when my girls are adults, I'm gonna be like in my 60s, right? So like I had like, as I'm sitting with what the fall is pulling me into, I've really been called to look at my relationship to my body and my health. And as a part of that, I was like, there's a thing I need to address. And so what I started doing was going back to AA meetings. And that like a lot of people don't know this about me. But I've been going, and I actually took my daughters with me to the last one, and it was such a beautiful experience because my oldest daughter, my children come to me. They're not, I didn't birth them. So they came to me from conditions that were created for a lot of reasons, but that had to do with parents and substance disorders. Not that I have a substance disorder, right? I don't fully like lean into everything about AA, but what I do lean into about AA is that it helps me to remember, one, I don't have to do everything alone. Two, there are people that can walk beside me. Three, that it reminds me to return, as they say, to the God of my understanding. And for like really for my daughters and myself, because like, look, I know I'm gonna die. We're all gonna look, I want to go into palliative care, right? I know we're gonna die. That's fine. I'm also not in a rush to get myself there, right? And so one of the things that I can do is stop drinking, because no matter how I kept trying to be like, oh, but wine has all these health like the World Health Organization says there is literally no health benefits, and any amount of alcohol is carcinogenic. And I just feel like at this point in my life, I need to do my part to try to live long enough to get my children into adulthood. So I was just like, okay, I'm just stopping alcohol, because that's one of the things that I've been like, having a glass of wine at the end of the day, whatever, right? Fine. I don't think that people have to necessarily define themselves as alcoholics to get the benefits of something like AA, because it's a very spiritual process. But anyway, so I've started doing that, and that's not easy. But I know that that is a part of stepping into what I'm feeling pulled to, whether it is to go to med school or whether it is to go to divinity school. I want to go to divinity school fully present in my life. And I don't want my daughter to be afraid because of what she came from and what she had to go through. because of alcohol. So just seeing wine, even just seeing it, stresses her out, right? And so it was so healing for her to be at that AA meeting, seeing that there are so many people who are walking this path,
right,
who have made different decisions than the adults who brought her into the world. And I wanted her to see that her mom, this mom, is one of them. And that what she thinks and feels really matters to me. And so that's not easy.
no,
And I feel that's a part of what I am becoming.
absolutely. It's a part of what you're becoming, and it's a part of what she's becoming. Now, to be able to know that, that fear doesn't have to have power over her, and she's able to deal with it in a different way.
And
Yeah.
there are adults in her life that care about her and what she feels and what matters to me. There's no glass of wine that is worth making my kid anxious, right?
Right.
And and when I started like trying to have my glass of wine like in secret, like before she came home from school, I was like, okay, no, this is crazy. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't fit with who you are.
no, it's like I usually like to have a glass of wine at night. And I was like, no, I don't want my daughter to be stressed. So I'm going to have it before she comes from school. So
No,
crazy.
but I think that's so important because it's, again, you're listening to the call for change. You're listening to who your authentic self is. And there's no judgment. Anybody out there can drink whatever anybody wants to. But if it feels like it's, disrupting your plan, then, if it feels like it's not for you, it's against you on some level, then it's not, it's not worth it. And there's no age and stage of this. I mean, this comes to us in all different ages and stages. And Michael said that he was 57 when he went back to study for ministerial training program. And I mean, I think that's the thing about this, about listening, about being present, and about, the more connected we are to source, the more we're going to want to do things and have things to do and be creative and be alive and awake and aware and open to what's possible.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think there is this, it's, I don't know, I don't want to call it magic because here's the other thing that going back to AA has brought up for me. It's brought me, so when my two younger brothers were murdered, one of the things that I remember, like I still have the newspaper clipping, they crawled to each other and held each other as they were both dying. Yeah. And
Okay. Take your time. She's not frozen.
I'm not frozen. I'm not frozen. I'm just remembering and feeling the beauty of those two beautiful men that I got to call my brothers. Heroes in the human world. Like one literally was a soldier and a nurse in both the Iraq and the Afghanistan war, and was coming home and did all his like nurse training in the military and had come home and was getting ready to graduate, and my other brother, who was this beautiful, talented musician and dancer, and that was the thing we shared together, was dance. And to have these two beautiful lives, like 27 and 24, just because of the way guns are available in my country of origin. But to know that they moved through that transition, right? together in each other's arms is what pulls me to palliative care, right? Because it's such a beautiful transition. Like, and we're always going through transition. And I see death as like just another rites of passage, not just, but a beautiful one that I think we get so uncomfortable with in the West. And I always say, look, people are like, I'm born in this world alone, I'm gonna leave alone. That's a lie. Nobody was born in the world alone. Unless you was born in the test tube. And even if you were born in the test tube, there were people involved in that process, right? So you were born through a person's body, connected, attached, right? So you're not alone, even in the physical sense. And so for me, when people die, they deserve to be like held and to get, you know what I mean? So anyways, where am I going with all of this, Robyn? Stop me.
All right, I'll stop you. Well, I think, not to belittle the situation at all, but I think the way that I connect that, what you're talking about, to what we're talking about, is that literally also all of our becoming involves some form of death, some form of letting go, some form of becoming the next version of ourselves, and just housing whatever is trying to emerge. And I think as our time comes to a close, that those are really the guiding questions on some level, is that what in this time, whether you're whatever coast you're on, wherever you are in the world, what is seeking to emerge? What's the next version of you? The one that talks to you, the one that says, oh, I wish I could do that, or I could do that, or I should do that. Any of those things, just what are the ways that spirit communicates with you? What are you, as you go into the stage of becoming, we're always being asked, what is it that I need to release? What do I need to let go of so that I can move beyond this point? And really enter into that dream or that possibility that you've been holding, and so just being awake and aware and listening and trusting, and I'll tell you another thing that I think is really important in this journey, because I think a lot of us have a clear understanding of when we're hearing spirit, or when we know it's spirit, or when we know it's the next step. And then I think the question becomes, and this we can explore on another show, but I think the question becomes, can we say yes before we know or understand the how?
Absolutely. Oh my God, we have to. I think it's the how is the piece that we have to surrender.
And
I think that's where the surrender comes in. It doesn't mean we don't make a plan, but I think we surrender at the planning. We plan and we surrender, and we have to be open to like how it unfolds, and that's hard.
So thank you for joining us. We know that wherever you are, holy shift is happening in your life.
Amen.
That's what we know. That's what we're holding for you. That's what we're praying about. So, just listen for those whispers before they become shouts. And just remember that really every disruption or thought that passes that allows you to think a different way is just life breaking through to you and really calling you towards the next truer version of yourself. So we're so glad you're doing that with us. We're here for you. Please feel free to, like and do all those things. If you're a regular listener and you're moved to donate to this, you can click on the QR code. We're really looking for people that can send on a monthly basis that can be regular donors, so that not only Natasha and I and Michael, but New Thought Media Network can do great work out in the world, because we are affecting lives and making a difference. And
That's right.
y'all are part of our breakthrough and our becoming. So join us and give what you can. Happy birthday, Michael Menges. No matter what coast you're on, may you celebrate all month long. We love you and we're grateful for you. And the same goes for all of you out there.
I just really want to say happy birthday again, Michael. And I'm so thrilled that it is your birthday in Australia and your birthday is on Good Friday. It's a good day.
It's a good day to have a good day. So take that out, everybody. Celebrate Michael, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Come expand your spiritual journey. Join us for Just the Talk. Sundays, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Experience Unity Kitchener and Ottawa. Center for Spiritual Living Midtown. Center for Spiritual Living Denver. Unity of Garden Park. New Thought Philadelphia. The Sunshine Cathedral. Unity of Savannah. And the Om Center for Spiritual Living. Come unleash your spiritual potential with New Thought Media Network.